Really quick before we get started, this video is a build video, but I'm not going to go through things like soldering and those kind of things. I'm just going to show how I hook up the components. Some of the components I've taken off of other quads, so there's some issues there we got to work on, things like that. This is not a full comprehensive build video. It does describe how I built this quad, but I don't do any soldering on camera or anything like that. I do a little bit of Betaflight work on camera, some I do off camera. There are some places where I do certain things, and I will link other videos that I've done that cover what I do off camera. So I hope this helps somebody a little bit. Enjoy the build video, and again, thanks for watching. Alright guys, so here we are at the start of my build. I'm going to be building up this frame. This is a Kinetic Aerial Spear X, and I've got the 230mm arms on it, so I get a little bit wider stance. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better for my freestyle. It's a pretty nice construction. TPU to hold the camera. Arm guards right here. I'm going to go ahead and get the flight control and the PDB tinned up and soldered and ready to go, and then we'll start building this guy out. So I'll do that off camera and we'll be right back. Alright, we've got everything tinned up. I've got a lead on the power distribution board. I'm going to put some electrical tape here on the arms. It's just the way I like to do it to protect my ESCs. Then I'll get the power distribution board mounted to the frame, and we'll go from there. Alright, my PDB is mounted. I don't know if you all do this, but you probably should, or it's a good piece of advice in my opinion. So always put some electrical tape on the bottom of your PDB, and I like to cover up the hot points because sometimes I mount the receiver close to here and I don't want it to touch and short those out or ruin the receiver. I use these little dampening standoffs for my for my flight control. So we're going to put these on right now just to keep that PDB in place. Next, I think I'm going to put the motors on, and then we're going to have to extend the wires on the ESCs to everything, because this is a longer armed quad than what I've had previously. So hopefully this will all work out the way I want. We will see. Alright, we've got the power distribution board on, got the motors and ESCs on. As you can see, these are power wires are what I'm going to have to extend out, just because my motor wires are so short. I think my signal wires are going to be just fine, so I have wire to replace those. Shouldn't be a problem. I'll also need to get power from here for the flight controller. I use a 12 volt for my video, and so we'll have to wire that up shortly. But as for now, we're going to just work on the ESC wires. Still looking a little bit like a mess, but I've got the new wires on. I've got to solder those to the power distribution board, and then again we'll need to start getting power for the flight controller and the VTX and camera. Alright, so ESCs are wired up to the power. I also hooked in the power that I'm going to be running to my flight control. And this is the power rating for my run cam. I still need to finish the harness here. And then we'll get the board put in and the signal wires hooked to the board. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to hook signal wires to the board and complete this harness for the VTX and the camera. Alright, so flight control is soldered to power. The harness for the VTX and camera is in. So the next thing I need to do is hook up my signal wires to my flight control, and then my receiver to my flight control. So we'll go do that and we'll be back. Alrighty, flight control is on. Spectrum receiver is wired to it. Signal wires are hooked up. Got power hooked up on the back. I did select the proper voltage for this receiver. We got our harness for our VTX. The next thing I'm going to do is power it up, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably do that. I'm probably going to run some power to it. I'm going to check with my multimeter real quick to make sure everything's okay. And then we'll plug her in, hook her up to Betaflight, and see what happens from there. So alrighty, I checked her out with my multimeter. Everything sounds good. Shall we see if there's a smoke show? Here we go. Well, everything looks good so far. Let's hook her to Betaflight, and I gotta get my radio out so we can bind this receiver to it, and we will go from there. Alright, so here we are on Betaflight. We're gonna get everything configured for this new quad and plug it in. My receiver is on, excuse me, my transmitter is on, so that everything will work that way. We will connect. Okay, first thing we're going to do is go to ports. I'm going to turn off UART2, UART4 for my serial RX, reboot. Connect. Make sure that took. It did. Configuration. We are running D-Shot 600. I don't need an accelerometer. I'm going to name the craft. Serial based receiver. It's going to be a Spectrum 2048. Don't need telemetry, but I do want anti-gravity and the dynamic. And the beeps I'm not going to worry about. Save and reboot. Failsafe should be already set. We'll test that later. Just drop it. Good tuning. I'll go put my rates in. Oh my goodness. Okay, save those. Going here, I'm going to turn these off right off the bat because I know previous setups have handled it. Okay, we'll go to the receiver tab. Tell it it's a Spectrum. Save. There. Real quick before we do that, I'm going to go into modes. And we're not set up right in my radio. Gosh dang it. We'll go check out this real quick. Yep, not even reading that switch. Okay. The first thing we're going to want to do get everything centered out. Oh, 1500. Wow. That's pretty nice. We are off. Our travel. Well, we're gonna need to go do some CLI work, I think. Let me see what these others look like. Okay. So I'm going to take care of a couple things really quick, get my receiver working right, or my transmitter working right on the switches I want. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to change some things. Well, I'm going to just reference a video for changing settings in the CLI so that we can get that 1000 to 2000 number. And I'll show you that later. Alright, so I got everything figured out on Betaflight. I'm going to mount my antennas. Get the VTX on here and get the rest put together, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done. Alrighty, so here she is, finished up without props. I still got a couple more things I need to do, like I need to focus this and go from there, but looking pretty dang good. Again, this frame is a Kinetic Aerial Spear with 230mm arms. I can't wait to get out and fly this guy.